Hello, I am Dr. Mariah Starr, and today we are continuing our discussion of what it means to be a social entrepreneur. Yesterday, I did a video that I thought would last about 23 minutes, but somehow the last 7 minutes were cut off. So I will do a continuation from yesterday and spend a bit of time today on the new topic. A social entrepreneur uses different startup methods compared to a regular entrepreneur. A social entrepreneur sees a problem, begins to volunteer to fix the problem, as the social entrepreneur volunteers, the social entrepreneur develops a vision, a crystal clear vision of how the world looks without the problem existing. Next, the social entrepreneur puts the vision down on paper, or begins to tell friends and family about the vision. And either way, friends and family look at what the social entrepreneur is doing. The social entrepreneur is leading by example. Leading by example. That is what social entrepreneurs do best. And as the social entrepreneur leads, he attracts his friends and his family to join him in the effort. So leading by example turns into the law of attraction. The social entrepreneur attracts first friends and family, and then strangers in the neighborhood. Those strangers communicate by word of mouth, and the social entrepreneur attracts people from around the city, then around the region and the state, and eventually around the entire country. It's an expanding circle. The social entrepreneur starts to attract so many people into his realm of activity to tackle this problem that eventually he encounters the same problem as a normal entrepreneur. A normal entrepreneur must hire employees. And once you have hired enough employees, let's say 150 to 200, you have to then manage those employees. A social entrepreneur doesn't hire employees. Instead, a social entrepreneur attracts volunteers. But the challenge is the same. Whether you are hiring employees for your business or attracting volunteers to your cause, or in the case of a religious organization, attracting followers to your spiritual message, it's still a management problem. You solve this management problem in a variety of ways. Regular entrepreneurs solve the problem through bureaucracy. They create divisions in the company. A social entrepreneur solves this problem by appointing deputies or selecting a close group of followers. In the religious sense, you might call them disciples. But what the social entrepreneur really does is teach people how to replicate the method. Now, this is a key distinction between a normal entrepreneur and a social entrepreneur. A social entrepreneur doesn't care so much about profit as much as increasing the change in the problem itself. So, making sure rates of illiteracy go down, making sure people have access to healthcare, making sure people have access to education, making sure the homeless get off the street, making sure veterans get their benefits. There are all kinds of problems, and what the social entrepreneur cares about most is making sure that all of these elements of the management of the organization lead into a direct impact on the change target. So let's get back to the law of attraction for a moment. The law of attraction works in the case of a social entrepreneur by being invisible. As you lead by example. And that, among other things, means learning how to market your organization, learning how to not just get word of mouth out, but do some type of cause marketing. Now, this is exactly where a lot of social entrepreneurs get confused with regular entrepreneurs, because regular entrepreneurs know all about marketing. They know where to advertise, which target demographic to advertise to. They know their target markets. They do focus groups. The social entrepreneur also does the same thing, but with a focus on the problem itself. And in fact, for the social entrepreneur, the target market is the people who are affected by the problem. So a social entrepreneur goes to the people affected by the problem. Just like a regular entrepreneur goes to the people who want services or want a product and are willing to pay for it. A social entrepreneur goes to people who are homeless, goes to people who can't read, and asks them what they need in order to improve their situation. And then with that information, a social entrepreneur goes around and builds a coalition of people, of volunteers, to help provide the services that the people need to solve the problem. So how do you know that you are a social entrepreneur? What kind of indications can you look for that you are a social entrepreneur instead of a regular entrepreneur? Well, one key indication is that you care more about solving the problem than about making a profit. The problem comes first. Second, you don't want to make the problem worse, but more importantly, you don't want your job to exist. You want to be effective enough so you can close your organization. See, a regular entrepreneur wants to expand the market, wants to have increasing profit margins every single year or even every single quarter. A regular entrepreneur wants to offer more products to more customers with more features. A social entrepreneur wants the problem to disappear. They want to be effective enough that their work is no longer necessary.